Hi everyone, this is just a short video to introduce the final 4 weeks, um, just so we've got a sense of the different mode, I guess, we're going into in this unit. So the next 4 weeks, which will go past pretty quickly, we'll be working on prototyping a profile, kind of mocking it up and playing with it, playing with the words that we use to describe ourselves and our work, and also how we put together a set of images. We've been talking a lot about framing and looking at how other designers frame their work. Now it's time for you guys to work on your own frame. So this week we're looking at words, and what we want to do is play with how we write about ourselves. And that means just being kind of a little bit more creative and freer in approaching writing. We can tend to freeze up a little bit. Most of us aren't great at writing. I mean, we're here studying design because we're better with form, with materials, drawing, etc., visuals. But writing, of course, becomes a really important part of any professional's life. What we'll do this week is play with some speculative writing exercises just to begin to loosen up a little bit. In week 10, we'll be doing some exercises around storyboarding and image making, and watching a short video about how to take a good photo of your work. This is applicable whether the work is 2D or 3D. And as I said, in week 11, we're putting it together. And in week 12, really building our final profile. And you need to have it completed and kind of proofread, if you like, kind of checked by your tutor. So it's essentially ready to go. Okay, so this week, let's start with a warm-up activity. Your tutor will take you through this, but I can give a quick introduction. We've been talking about speculative design and the role of this speculative mode, I suppose, in creative practice. So we thought we'd get started by getting you guys to write about yourselves in the context of your relationship with design and how you're presenting yourself as a designer, as a speculative profile writing exercise. The first activity is going back 5 years and thinking about now. We want you to open up this app. It's a web app. It's called the Most Dangerous Writing App, so be careful. Once you've opened it up, click on Start Writing Without Prompt. Don't start writing yet, because once you start writing, you can't stop writing, hence the dangerous nature of this writing app. Once you stop writing, if it's before the 3-minute time frame, the screen will start to go red and essentially you die. You get kicked off the screen and you lose what you've written. So the idea is to just stay with what you're writing. You don't have to go at breakneck speed. You don't have to go really, really fast. You just have to keep going and try and resist the urge to kind of stop and go back over what you've written and to read it, or to try and start correcting it, to get out of that sort of habit of being self-conscious about it. It loosens you up. It's a little bit like when you're doing drawing exercises, and you may have tried this. You don't look at the page that you're drawing on, you look at the thing that you are drawing. So you just allow the mark making or the drawing to kind of flow much more freely. Or perhaps it's keeping the pencil or charcoal, whatever it is you're drawing with, on the page and not lifting it. These types of activities that loosen us up. So it's a writing version of that. So your prompt, as you can see, is to go back 5 years ago. Imagine it's 2019. Look, you might have been at school, you might not have. You're all different. There's a lot of you. Wherever you were, imagine writing a profile at that time. Obviously, we're writing it now, but imagine yourself back then with everything that you know, writing a profile of yourself as an applicant to study design, or perhaps it's to study something else. So this is where we're just going to play with this idea. Imagine, what was it that you wrote? I'm not sure you had to write an application. If you did have to write a profile for yourself, obviously it would have been different back then. But imagine I'm writing it now for your, 18, 17-year-old self. What did you write? Why did you want to study design? What did you think design was going to be like to study? You can play with these sorts of prompts and just see what comes out. We'll just do this for 3 minutes. Okay, now let's spend a few minutes sharing in our reading circles what you wrote. Now we're going to reverse it. So this time we're going to go into the future. And this is probably going to be a little bit more, well, it's certainly more speculative. Obviously, we haven't experienced this yet. So this time, you're really kind of projecting into how you imagine yourself in 5 years' time and what sort of profile you imagine you might have. So this is thinking about what you're building as part of your skill set now as a design student and where you think that's going to take you. So imagine it's 2029. This time you're writing a speculative profile. Instead of imagining yourself as a designer, but you might imagine yourself as a photographer or an artist or whatever it is in the future. Let's go for 3 minutes again. Again, what are your skills? I think this time we can really kind of delve a little bit deeper into your values. What do you think it is that you're bringing to the design profession or whatever profession it is? What sort of values are you bringing? Here are some more prompts. You might imagine where you have been working. So in 5 years' time, you might have come from a different job that you got straight after university. I don't know. You could think about where you want to work. What have you discovered in 5 years about being a designer? What do you imagine you're going to discover once you start working? What keeps you doing it? How can you communicate the value you have built through your practicing of design? That last one's pretty tricky, but really try and extend yourself. Finally, let's bring it back to the present. So now we can kind of start to build our present day profile, which is your task over the next 4 weeks. There's a template that's available for you to use, which is essentially, the Marta Now template. So it's been supplied to me via the faculty. And this is how, these fields that are in the template are how they want us to frame our profile. You don't need to use the most dangerous writing app anymore, but if you feel like you want to, or if you enjoyed using it, obviously use it. I still use it occasionally. It's if I'm feeling really stuck, just thinking about a simple prompt and jumping in and doing 3 to 5 minutes of writing. It's kind of amazing what it can do in sort of opening you up to some more kind of exploration. So this next profile is the kind of serious one, I suppose, or it's the one that you'll be working on. And we're going to spend the rest of the tutorial today beginning to think about or focus on the words. So how do you write about your work? We're going to watch a short talk now by a guy called Dylan Rainforth, who does write for creative practitioners or in writes about creative work. And he's got some great advice. Some of it's quite funny about how to, as a designer, how to communicate well. So writing well, obviously, but it sort of comes down to communicating well. Okay, well, the rest of the class we're going to be working on the template. In week 10, we're going to focus on bringing images to put together with these words, and then beginning to sort of edit and perhaps curate our profile in a way where the text and the images obviously are working well together, and we're building kind of a really well-crafted, sort of thoughtful profile. It makes a big difference. I can tell you from reading many profiles from students, the ones that stand out are the ones that have clearly been kind of considered carefully. Images have been carefully kind of crafted, and the words that accompany those images have been thoughtfully put together. And I can tell you that people who go to the Marta Now website, and there are many potential employees, lots of people visit it, of course, just to see the sort of work that we do. They read what we write. The words are important. I know the focus for us is definitely the images, but most people go straight to the words, and it's really important to make sure that we present a professional image, or just a one that's been kind of carefully put together, that we spend time working on our writing and getting the writing right, so it's working well with how we tell our story visually. Spatial design students will be putting together work from their final project. Industrial designers are the same. Communication designers you'll be focusing on your design research kit as the work that you'll upload to the Martyr Now website. You've also done this work now, so I know from teaching into communication design, the design research kit's a good one to focus on because the other work will be due after we're finished in week 12, whereas the design research kit you should have completed by now.